Hello mech warriors and welcome back to Goofy Mechs, a series where we look at some of the silliest Battletech art in existence and then have a look at the mech stats to see if you should judge a book by its cover or if it's actually a good unit. Today we're looking at the Bane, and my goodness is this ever a weird one. This mech is designed to look as wide as possible, I think, while having very narrow panels on its body. It's really weird looking. It has these big wing things coming out of the sides of its hips to attach the legs. So this is the hip assembly here, and then we've got little accordion knees. I'm never really a fan of the accordion joints on mechs. I just don't think that they look very good. And we have three-pronged bird toes. Very talon-like, very Jade Falcon-like. So Sarna lists this as an unseen piece of artwork. This is the original drawing of the Bane, but I don't know where the inspiration for it comes from. Please let me know in the comments if you know which anime mech inspired this one to cause it to become unseen, because I have no idea. What is this thing sticking off the back of its leg? Is this supposed to be a little spur so that it can kick things behind it? I don't understand. Also, showing this thing vaulting off of like a hill is very optimistic because this mech has a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour. It is a big, heavy assault mech. It's probably not pulling off any fancy maneuvers like this. Okay, next we've got the second piece of art, and my goodness, somebody really looked at the stalker and said, yes, more of that, please. Because it literally takes the exact same pose as the old school stalker art, which is ludicrous. What is going on with this mech's legs? Is this as far as its knees can bend? Why do the legs project forwards like this? How the heck is this thing possibly balancing? Is it supposed to be that this little thing that sticks out of the back is like an anchor, and this mech's natural stance is to have its legs sticking out completely straight, and essentially having the legs act as a foot? Because this thing does bring a lot of weaponry, so it might make sense that it has a really thorough anchoring system, but I feel like these little prongs aren't going to be able to support it. Then again, the feet are looking a little bit thin to support the mech as well, so what do I know? I would really love to know what this is supposed to be. Is this the 4 ER medium lasers on one of the variants? Because it's certainly not an SRM4. There is only one version of this mech with an SRM4 on it, and it certainly wouldn't have a giant shoulder pod dedicated to it because it is a one-shot weapon, and that version has a bunch of LRMs, so this certainly isn't that. Now, I'm definitely gonna roast this thing for looking like two mono-wing planes strapped together with a weird multi-lobstered torso, but really this is kind of what you want a mech to look like, right? It's got a pretty minimal profile. Everything's been jammed into things that are horizontally large but vertically very small, presenting a very small target to shoot at, but it doesn't stop it from looking extremely dumb. Next we have the art from the card game. We've still got the weird 4 launcher on the shoulder. Now honestly, I'm gonna say I do actually like this art a little bit better than the other one, although it isn't exactly very easy to discern what everything is. It's very hazy. But I think that the funniest thing about both of these images is that this mech is so extremely wide that they literally couldn't fit the art into the cards. Both of them got cut off from the edges. This is just how it looks on the card art. It's not cut off, trust me, this isn't an editing problem. The red one really just shows you how wide this thing is. It is absolutely insanely wide. It is as wide as it is tall across the shoulders and legs, and with the arms attached, it is literally wider than it is tall. It looks so incredibly goofy. Either this mech is very low to the ground, similar to the King Crab, or it's still very tall, but is just built insanely wide for no reason, and has these stubby little legs. Looking like Cotton Hill, who got his shins blown up by the Japanese. We're killing Fitty Man. This one is arguably even worse because, like, they seem to have made the proportions a little bit more reasonable, but they made the legs look even less like they can even bend. Like, I guess this is the knee joint back here, but my goodness, this thing looks so silly. It's such a thick boy. This guy's got the thickest thighs and the thickest biggest calves you've ever seen. As is usual with mecha design, we've got a bunch of gubbins here. Just what is the purpose of this? Why does this need to exist? There's no reason to have a big gap in the armor here. And on this leg, it looks like it goes all the way across, but on this leg, it doesn't completely go all the way. That doesn't make any sense. Why would it be different on each leg? Why is there a big circle here, but not one on the other side? What's going on? These are just gubbins. Why is this here? Vents in the arms, I guess, to keep the guns cool, and an air intake directly above the cockpit. And maybe on both of its big open nipples? Why does it have big air intakes right here? Is that what those are supposed to be? Otherwise, it's just a giant bullet trap, which it is a giant bullet trap on this as well, but if it doesn't serve any practical function, then its only purpose is as a bullet trap. I will admit, I do like the Gatling guns. I think the Gatling guns look pretty darn cool, and the rocket pods are pretty rad as well. I'm a man who loves shoulder rocket pods on mechs. Very cool. Alright, let's talk stats. Well, you have a look at the much improved glow-up of the Bane. We got the original version here. Funny that this is the OG Bane, but there's no art for it. This thing has 1,000,000 Ultra AC2s, so this is a lot of long-range firepower. Ultra AC2s, not actually all that powerful, but when you have 10 of them, and they can all potentially fire 2 shots, that is a potential 20 crit-seeking hits on an enemy unit. You can probably score a couple of head hits to knock out a pilot, or maybe even a through-armor critical and blow up someone's ammo, and once an enemy mech is open, I mean, this thing's just gonna absolutely rip apart internals. 4 tons of UAC ammo, that's 160 shots, which is probably overkill, but if this thing is in combat for an extended period of time, it can definitely go through all of that ammo. 4 machine guns in the right torso to provide some close range fire support. Not really that necessary in my opinion, but what else are you gonna do with a couple of tons? Clan machine guns are at least very light, if not very effective. The main thing that is really good about the Bane is its 1950 battle value and nearly maxed out armor. It's a very cheap armor brick. It has plentiful heat sinking for its weapons. Essentially, you just park this thing at the back of your formation and it fires from 18 hexes away and crit seeks your enemy for a cheap price. Pair this up with something that has some hole punching weapons and I think that you're in for a really good time. Maybe like multiple Gauss rifles, like I don't know, an Alicorn or something like that. Now the Bane 2 goes for a more close range brawling build, which on a 3-5 unit is a little bit optimistic, but 4 Ultra AC-10s is pretty impressive firepower. This is potentially 80 damage once you get into that close range, and again, we have plenty of ammo for this. The reason why this mech sucks so much probably is because it has so much ammo. It's very explosive and costs 2,500 battle value. It's a little pricey for me. The Bane 3 is the mech that most people think about when they think of the Bane. This is pretty much the most LRMs that you can fit on a mech in the game. 8 clan LRM-15s is a serious amount of firepower. It has a one-shot streak SRM-4 to back it up at close range. This is a nice little crit-seeking weapon. Very cheap on battle value, at least. And as you can see, this thing has an absolute crap ton of ammo. 16 rounds of fire for each of the LRM-15s ensures that this is pretty much going to fire until it falls over. It does have slightly insufficient heat sinking for all of its LRM-15s, so every 2 or 3 turns you're gonna have to shut one of the LRMs off, but you still have 7 that are firing, so that's probably sufficient anyways. This is just a great support unit. It is very expensive. Nearly 3,000 battle value is a little bit too pricey for me. I probably wouldn't use it, but there is no other LRM spam unit that is better than this, in my opinion. There's pretty much nothing else in the game that has more LRMs on them than this unit. So if you're in a campaign and you've got like a cluster hitter or missile master, this is definitely the ride that you want to pick up for them. 2709 battle value for the Bane 4. Twin Ultra AC-20s is some seriously disgusting close range firepower, and we've got 3 ATM-6s and an ER large laser for some nice flexible long and close range punch. You can fire all of these very comfortably together, and you can fire both of the Ultra AC-20s comfortably together with maybe 1 or 2 ATMs included in that as well. Only 4 tons of ammo for 3 ATM-6s is a little bit light, but this unit probably wants 1 extended range ton, 1 standard ton, and then 2 high explosive tons, or maybe 2 standard tons of ammo, the way that they've got it set up here. It depends on how you plan on using it. It is very slow, so it's going to plod towards the enemy, hoping to get those Ultra AC-20s into firing range, but your enemies are probably going to want to stay out of that range, meaning that the ATM-6s and the ER Large Laser are actually going to be your main source of firepower. Now, this is much cheaper than the Bane 3, and arguably has about as much firepower, not at long range, but once you get up close, those big hits from the Ultra AC-20s are very effective at ripping open armor. And it's significantly cheaper than the Bane 3, so I like the Bane 4 quite a bit. I think that it's definitely usable. The Bane 5 goes for quad rack 2s, so this is much more similar to the original Bane with the Ultra AC-2 spam, except instead of taking 10 Ultra AC-2s, we've instead taken 4 smaller weapons that have better cluster capability. This actually has more potential hits from the racks if you're firing them on 6-shot mode, and on the upside, you can unjam the rotary AC-2s, whereas you can't unjam the Ultra AC-2s. And again, we have plentiful ammo for all of our weapons. 2 LRM-10s and an ER Large Laser provide additional long-range firepower, and everything can pretty much fire comfortably together as long as you're not going too crazy and putting all of the rotary AC-2s on 6-fire mode. Case 2 makes this unit a lot more durable than its cousins, able to only take a single point of damage when its ammo inevitably gets crit. And a lovely ECM suite in the head provides it with some defense against Artemis, which is always nice to have. And at 2,500 battle value, this is actually one of the more affordable Banes and one of the more effective ones. If I was going to take a long-range support unit in the kerfuffle era, I would probably be looking at the Bane 5 out of all of these so far. So the Bane 6 is a really weird unit. Instead of going for ultra autocannons, it's gone for proto-mech AC-2s. These are pretty effective. They have range 14 and you get 10 of them. So 10 shots at range 14, able to crit seek, and then that's backed up by 4 ER medium lasers. That's significantly better backup fire than the Ultra AC-2s and machine gun combo that the original Bane carries, and gives this some actual punching power with 7 damage hits, able to pierce through some armor. With 26 heat sinking, that's not really quite enough to cool all of the weapons, and they perhaps went slightly overboard with the ammo and didn't put enough of it in each torso, because if your right torso goes, suddenly pretty much all of your autocannon ammo is gone. But again, we've got ECM, we've got Case 2 in the torsos, and most importantly, we have a targeting computer. So this 2339 battle value, pretty reasonable for a 100-ton clan assault mech, and the fire, while less devastating, is more accurate. Targeting computers are very efficient on battle value, and I like this unit quite a bit. As a decent mid-range to range 14 brawler with lots of armor and a reasonable price tag, the Bane 6 is actually quite solid. Now finally, we've got the Bane 7, which is arguably one of the worst mechs in the game just because of its battle value price tag. 3,700 battle value, and it brings 2 Hag 40s. Now, Hag 40s are, in my opinion, one of the worst weapons in the game, mostly because you have to bring an absolute crap ton of ammo with them, and this ammo ends up costing a mountain of battle value. Trust me, the vast majority of the battle value on this unit is from this Hyper Assault Gauss ammo. But let's not discount a large pulse laser and 4 ER medium lasers as backup weapons. Slightly too few heat sinks to fire all of the energy weapons together, unfortunately, but plenty to fire the large pulse laser and 2 Hag 40s together, which is reasonably good. But at 3,700 battle value, it's just way too expensive. Essentially, anything with a Hag 40 on it is a no-go for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Always love to hear from you guys. If there's anything that you want me to cover, or if you have any qualms about anything that I've said in this video, please let me know. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff helps out the channel immensely, and check out the Ko-fi link if you want to support me directly. Thanks so much for watching, Mech Warriors, and have a great day.